We're here on the Movement Matters podcast. I'm your host, Muevmnt, and we're here today with brother Omid Qaderi. He is the founder of Filmz. He has a very wide variety of experience, mashallah. Very busy guy, from what I can see. I'm confused with what exactly he even does, so I'm gonna let him take it away. Brother Omid, if you want to tell us what you do, because I know, mashallah, honestly, joke aside, you have a lot going on for yourself, alhamdulillah.
My name is Omid Qaderi. A lot of people know me as Cassius. It's a hip-hop artist. I run my own media company, so we, Filmz Media, we do primarily videos, but we also get into digital marketing. We've done some graphic design, just working with companies in the city doing kind of more corporate stuff. But my experience basically ranges from weddings, commercials, social media videos. So that's kind of my background. And then obviously a lot of people know me as Cassius. I do a lot of hip-hop, have a couple mixtapes out.
I'm guessing, or from what I understand, the rap started before you got into any of the filming stuff, or was it like you had both kind of going at once? Or
actually started in acting. So back in high school, I used to, I had drama classes and stuff like that. And then in 2007, 2008, 2009, YouTube started popping up. My interest in doing it was like, okay, well, there isn't many big productions here in Edmonton. I'll just start making videos myself. Right. So that's when I picked up the camera. But in the same time, I got introduced to rap because I was playing basketball with a lot of guys. So doing some writing here and there, but that wasn't really the focus. Yeah, I just started doing YouTube videos. I actually started doing like comedic skits, pranks and things like that. Those are not public because they're really, really bad production, and just I thought they were funny at the time, but you know how it is, right? And then I realized that that's not the way I want it to be presented, and that's kind of when I stepped back from like doing the acting stuff, and I started getting some more of the music, because I still wanted to have that kind of artistic, creative expression. So I was like, yes. I love music, I love going to the studio, I love writing, so let's pick this back up.
So when you stopped the acting and you got into music, what kind of became the inspiration, motivation there?
It's almost like, when you eat candy and you get this high of having that candy, and then all of a sudden you crash. That was kind of like the comedic skit stuff for me. But as I started doing it, I realized I was just doing it for that attention. And the more I realized it was more so for that. And I started realizing I don't want to go that route. I don't want to be known as that guy. And then I realized that I actually love music and I love writing, and I was doing that a lot more. And I was like, I think this is the way to go. I think this is the way to the creative side of things if I still want to. And I can control the narrative of how I want to be presented and look, and how I wanted to express certain ideas and things like that. So it wasn't like, what's the thing that's trending? Right? With the music, it was like, okay, it's all internal. Yeah. How am I feeling? What kind of experiences can I present? My favorite rappers like J. Cole and like Logic, Russ, all these guys take their personal experiences and they present it, and then they can create really beautiful videos that are really powerful and things like that. So I think once I shifted from there, I realized, yeah, that's the road I want to take. So
as entrepreneurs, and maybe you can attest to this, is you're not always going to have success. You're not always going to have that consistent, oh, everything's great. There's always going to be those like little mini hiccups, or even a big failure here and there, whichever.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think from my experience, I actually wasn't planning to be like an entrepreneur. I know now everyone's like, oh, self-employment, doing my own thing, and entrepreneurship is very, it's very fantasized, and people want to go that route, but I think it's not for everybody. After I finished my university degree, I actually got laid off like 4 times. After the 4th time, I was like, okay, like I need to do something for myself, because I don't want my destiny in the hands of, somebody else. And so I think I was kind of pushed into the route of thinking that way, because I have a science degree, I have a science background. I don't have a business degree. I never was thinking about, oh, I'm going to start my own business one day, or I'm going to go that route. It just kind of the experiences that I had, and I was getting laid off and fired for not the reason of my own, right? Like if I did something bad or whatever, it was like laid off because of the company's reasons. So I felt very like, oh, I'm just like another number in this company, but like I don't want to feel like that. I know what I can bring to the table. I know my ambition and what I want to do. So how can I channel that and actually start making some money for myself, so I can sustain myself? I don't want to feel like this is my only source, and if somebody cuts that source of income, I'm screwed. Right. So it just kind of went in that route, and then I was like, okay, what am I good at? Which was videos. And so when I started doing videos, people were like, oh, I'll pay $50 to do my daughter's birthday party. And I was like, and it wasn't, again, I didn't even look at that as like, that's the business. Right, it was more of a side hustle because I was going into a different career.
Where do you see, or do you see rap fitting into Like, are you going to keep them two separate entities, or is rap still something? Is that something that you would pursue, or like you would like to pursue, or is it more you kind of just do it because you enjoy it?
Absolutely. I think the rapping is always the dream. Being on stage, going on tour, doing those things, and obviously an artist's dream is to be on the biggest stage, right? So that I think that's the dream, and I will always pursue that. But for now, you still need an income, you still need to live day to day. I don't like to put myself in positions where I'm only putting one foot in. I'm always putting myself, if I'm doing something, it's 100% effort, 100% focus. Now that I've built, a sustainable business and it's working and things are, I have a system in place, I'm still writing, and I'm hoping that I can get to a point where that starts to take off. I think right now I'm keeping it as separate.
I was motivated when I saw you had that. It was the album cover was a Hijabi woman, right? If I'm correct, you were in hijab.
Yes.
And that was like, that's so cool. Honestly, so cool, because it's a local guy, local artist. If you want to touch on that a bit.
I wanted to create a song where it had two different sides, so the Muslim boy and then the Muslim girl. I was trying to figure out a way of combining the two where it made sense. So if you listen to the song front to back, you get this story out of it, right? So you get the Muslim boy side and then the Muslim girl side. And how can I present it in a way where anyone listening to it, white person, brown person, black, anyone can listen to it and understand it. So it's not just from like, oh, if you're Muslim, you'll get it and you'll like it, right? So I have a lot of like friends that aren't Muslim that when I made that song, they're like, dude, this was very powerful, and so that's the beauty of rap, is like you can do these narratives, and I've always been in the pursuit of trying to get it where if I present something that anyone can listen to it and really feel the emotion behind it, and they're not like, oh, I guess those lyrics weren't for me, you know what I mean? They can listen to it and be like, oh, I appreciate that story or whatnot. So. But that's the beauty of rap, is like you can do that. Yeah, and again, the artwork behind it. It's a combined face of a hijabi woman and a Muslim man, and it's combined in the artistic. So I got an artist in the city, and I was like, this is kind of the song. I want you to listen to it, and I'm not going to give you any creative direction. And you need to give me something. If I look at it, it represents the song. And when he did it, and I was like, holy, this is crazy. Awesome. Yeah, so it worked out well.
Do you ever have points where like you might feel like unmotivated towards certain things, whether it's music or film? What do you kind of do like if you ever get into those ruts?
Entrepreneurship, any of this creative stuff is a very roller coaster ride, right? It's very, and you really have to be self-disciplined in pushing your needle forward, right? And there's obviously days you wake up, you don't want to do that. For me, I try to focus on an anchor. So an anchor for me is like my parents. My parents have come from a war-torn country. They're trying to build a good life and they have built a good life for our siblings and our family. My dad sponsored like all of my cousins and aunts and uncles, and he sacrificed a lot. I always keep that in the back of my head of like, I have this opportunity to rap. I have this opportunity to make a business. I have this opportunity to do the things that I want to do. Imagine me being in my dad's position, working at a donair shop, having to supply for his family and feed his family. He doesn't have those kind of dreams of rapping, even if he wanted it. He can't. He doesn't have that choice. He has to go to that donair shop, work 12 hours, and pay for the kids and the family. But I don't have that. That's not a sense of like, he's given this opportunity for me to pursue what I want to pursue. Why would I spend a day sulking? Why would I spend a day? What he's been through, I can never imagine what he's been through. In my eyes, my dad's my hero. I always think of that, the days that I have ruts or the days that I don't want to get up and write, or days I don't want to go talk to a client to potentially bring in some coin for the business or whatnot. I always think about that, and I try to make sure that, okay, I got to keep going. This is kind of what I want to do. You obviously want to make your parents proud and make sure that you're, so I just think I go back to that anchor. So I encourage people, like Muslim entrepreneurs, whether Muslim or not, but like you just have to have that anchor. What is that? So my parents and my family motivate me. What's that motivation for you? What
you just said is a beautiful thing for any up-and-coming entrepreneur. What advice could you give to somebody who's wanting to take the same path, to take the same steps forward?
Right, so systems are very important, and that's something I've learned now. So having proper systems in place from the beginning will help you, succeed. So having your accounting set up, making sure your business is set up properly. I know a lot of guys that'll just get into a business because they're excited about it. The passion's there, the fuel's there. I want to start this. I want to start this clothing brand. I got this product. I got this service. Like I'm just going to go and sell. Take a step back, set up some systems. Are you going to be the sole? Is this a solopreneur business, or is this an actual business that you want to take 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30 employees? So if you're going to do that, figure out systems, and not only the accounting side, the financing side, but your marketing side, have those plans in place so that you can just, as you're going through the day-to-day, that you can always go back to those systems and see, okay, am I still going on the right path? Because as you know, as any entrepreneur knows or creative, the path is like this.
Yeah.
It's up and down and side to side, and you get swayed from this to this. Oh, this might be a good idea now. 3 months in, you might be like, oh, actually, I don't want to sell this. I want to do this now. Or I want to do this now. Or I want to sell this product now. But when you started, you go back to that business plan, you go back to those systems you've created, and you say, okay, yeah, no, actually, that isn't, maybe that's sequence number 5, right? Maybe that's move number 5, but that's not move number 1 right now. Having those systems in place, knowing your next 5 moves. An entrepreneur named Patrick Bet-David, shout out to him. He talks about that, knowing your next 5 moves. Move number 5 might not be move number 1, but if you make move number 5 before move number 1, your business changes or something. You might not be as successful. So having those systems in place, I would say anyone getting into this entrepreneurial space, just having those before you gung ho go sell, because you might have that skill. You might be able to make quick money, but having that plan long term will help you. I knew an entrepreneur in the city who, in his first year, he made 100K, 150K. He lost half of that money because of the accounting. He didn't consider his taxes. Wow. He didn't consider some of his overhead. He didn't consider some other factors, but he made 150K that year. So first year, you come off the gate, you're flying. Imagine making 6 figures in your first year. You're like, I made it, You think that you're doing well, right? But you didn't take a step back and say, oh, okay, like, how's my accounting? Didn't keep your receipts, didn't keep any of the books right? It was more like, just go, let's make it happen. He realized he didn't have the money at the end of it. So now he's in a completely different position of being in debt, not having enough to pay his taxes, and now he has to either go get a second job or do something else to help keep that business flowing. So not having that system in place, but going right into it, and that story always in my head is just kind of stands out. And even on the creative side, right? There's a lot of artists who want to sell their paintings or sell their music, and they get into the business indirectly, and you don't have no business background. So, but you will learn. When that that bill comes from the government and you have to pay your taxes back. Oh, what? You didn't keep your accounting proper. You didn't have a good accountant. Or you might not have had an accountant at the beginning. So those kind of things, I think anyone getting into it, just figure out, have a good system in place, talk to people who've actually built businesses, go to your accountant. That's something you just learn. And it's just, I don't want to deal with numbers. I want to make videos. I want to make music. I want to, do those things. But then you got to do the boring stuff. You got to sit down and make sure that you're not screwing yourself at the end of the day.
I really want to thank you, Omid Qaderi, whatever we might refer to you as, whoever refers to you as. Appreciate you taking the time to come down. I appreciate the positivity. If you want to tell the crowd how to find you, where to locate you.
If you guys want to find my music, it's at Qashus, so Qashus. If you guys want to find some of my video work or some of the work that I'm doing locally, it's at Filmz Media.